Now, how to target and go break even for Euro USD, gold and silver. So you're only trading these in US session. You have to know your US session zones. So all it is on these pairs, this is so simple. It's just the previous US session zones as I've already showed you. So this is a trade example. This is a buy off of a US session zone. And I'm going to show you how you would target and make your break even rules. So you have to have this planned before you take the trade. So firstly, what I'm going to do is draw on the actual zones that we have around the price that where we're looking to buy into. So we're looking to buy up here, and all we've got to do is think about what potential zones could there be that we're going to tap into that we could have a problem at. So the first zone, I've actually already got it drawn on, is this US high zone up here. So that's the kind of the first zone I'll draw on. The next zones that I draw on, there is a potential zone around there. Now I'm drawing these on as an example. I don't know if I draw these on my actual time, but this is an example for the video. So we have that zone there on EU. We also have that zone there, which is just the previous day's US low. Then that's a US zone over there. So if I throw it back on the 5 minute, we can now start to plan where we're looking to take profits and go break even. So firstly, this zone here, the first zone we tap into, are we going to do anything at that zone? Absolutely not. No, because I mean, it's literally just above where we entered. If you go break even at that point, that's just stupid. It does, if it rejects it, it rejects it. But if you do anything around that price, break even, take profit, that's just stupid. Now the next zone up is the previous day's US low zone. Now in this zone here, the risk to reward would be about 1 to 1.6. So at that point, I would say I want a better risk to reward. So in that case, I'm going to target the next US zone up, which makes it a risk to reward of 1.43, which is perfect, exactly what I'd like to see. But does that mean that I'm done with targeting and planning break even? I can just let this trade play up? No, it doesn't, because we have this zone right here. Even though we didn't target this zone, we're not taking profits at this zone. So targeting, taking profits, the same thing. Even though we didn't take profits at this zone, we have to go break even because it is a potential rejection zone. So on the 15 minute, you can clearly see, I'm actually going to tighten it up a little bit. You can clearly see it's yesterday's US low zone. So there is a chance we could reject here, and it's at a 1.63 risk to reward. It's 20 odd pips away. So at this point, we would have to go break even. You have to go break even when you're holding through US session zones. So all we're doing, we're trading session zone to session zone. If you're trading through a US session zone, if you're not taking profits, you're going break even. So your take profit is always going to be at a US session zone. It always will be, and your break even, you have to go break even at US session zones. So it's actually really, really simple. So if you're not taking a profit, you're going break even. Now, a couple rules here. Never ever take your profits less than 1 to 1. This is just a recap of the rules. Never take your profits at less than 1 to 1, and never go break even before 20 pips. Otherwise, you're not giving your trade room to breathe, because like in this example down here, if it tapped into this low and you went break even, it could very, very easily just come back down, wick down a bit, then fly straight up. So this is a safe break even zone because it gives your trade chance to breathe. So it could push down a bit before pushing up, but it's also making you risk free because we could end up rejecting the zone. So going break even and taking profits on US session, it's really simple. It's just US session zones. If you're not taking profits, you're going break even. So in this trade, I'll just play out what happens. It ends up pushing all the way up and hitting the TP up there. Now you can see if you went break even at that zone there, really stupid. You should never ever do that. But if you did, you would have just got stopped out and then it went all the way up to TP. So in this 15 minute, once it tapped in there, you would have gone break even and the TP all the way up top got hit. For this next trade example on US session, this is gold sells. It was just a rejection of the previous day's US high. So this is the point at which you were selling. The stop was above the zone. And now if I go on to the hourly, just to show you kind of what zones that we could see whilst we're pushing to the downside. So again, it's just thinking, whilst we're pushing to the downside, what potential zones could we encounter that we might have trouble at? So firstly, what you'll see is that the previous day's US low was a zone right there, which we could have problems at. And then the next zone down was, you'll see I put my TP here, the current low for the US session, drag it across. It was also the last time US traded this price, it was the low as well. So it was 2 days back, that was the low as well. So drag that across. These are the two zones which we can expect something to happen at in this session. So firstly, would we take profits here? Risk to reward of 1 to 1.18. No, I wouldn't take my profits there because that's not really good enough risk to reward for me for what I'd look for. It may be for you, but I don't think that's ambitious enough. What I'd do is I would target the next zone down here. That's a risk to reward of 1 to 2.3. Now, this is a very big stop. That's why the risk to reward isn't that big, even though it would be a big move. Your stop won't usually be this big at all, but that's not what this video is about. So I would target the next US zone down here. So all we're thinking is there's 2 US zones that we could tap into. Which one are we targeting? Which one are we going to go break even at? So we're not targeting here, so we would go break even. So we're targeting down there. So at this zone, we would go break even. We have to go break even because it is a US session zone and there is a chance of rejection. It could tap into there, reject, then push off to the upside. And if you end up losing at that point, then that is bad trading and it's against the plan. So if I play out what happens, price pushes down, pushes down, pushes down. And once it tapped into that zone, you would have gone break even. So by break even, you just roll your stop right to your entry, and then it actually ended up going down, and then hitting the TP. So that is another example on US session. So these are examples for gold, silver, and EU. You're just using your US session zones. So each zone, you're either going break even or taking profit. It's so simple. That's literally what you need to know. At each zone that you're pushing through, you're either going to go break even or you're going to take profit. It's literally as simple as that. But remember, never take profit less than 1 to 1 and never go break even before 20 pips.